so, Jennifer?
It is so.
Oh, I'm so proud to hear that.
Well, just in case you missed the introduction, I am joined by the Secretary of Innovation for the City of Buenos Aires, Diego Fernandez. Yes, and I am Jen Sanasi. I'm a reporter at CoinDesk, and we're going to be talking about some very exciting news, digital identity in Buenos Aires. So before we get into it, Diego, lay out the challenge for me here. What's the challenge that the folks in Buenos Aires are facing when it comes to identity, and how did you first become aware of it?
Well, honestly, I think that the challenge with identity is not from Buenos Aires, but it's a human challenge. I mean, everybody in the world today is dealing on how to identify themselves in an inequivocal way in the digital realm. And today we're using systems which are basically lousy. I mean, our way of identifying ourselves with a user and a password, or eventually with these new aggregators, let's say Meta, Google, LinkedIn, or whatsoever, that at the end of the day, they control, they became the power state that which issue digital identities. And we need to come up with a new reality in which we users, not governments, the users control their identity, their attestations, and more importantly, who they share it with. And that is the thing that Buenos Aires and several other countries in the world are looking forward to.
You know, I emceed an event earlier this week where we talked all about zero knowledge, and one of the topics that came up was it's absolutely insane that to verify our identity these days, we have to take a picture of a physical document and upload that to some online portal, and that's the only way we have to verify ourselves. Talk to me about how you are innovating on that archaic process.
Well, I mean, when somebody requests something of me, just to give you an example, say, hey, are you an Argentinian? To my daughter, when she goes out and wants to buy a beer in a bar, and the people say, and the bartender says, hey, are you over 21? Nobody asks my ID anymore, but I mean, to my daughter they do. And the only thing that she needs to prove is that she is 22 years old. The bartender doesn't need to know her name, he doesn't need to know her address, her day of birth, or whatever other information is contained within her identity or driver's license credential. We are used to spread out our data everywhere, and that is wrong. That is wrong. And why is that? It's wrong, and it's very dangerous. Why? Because 15 years ago, 10 years ago, we were not so digitalized. Today, if somebody steals your identity, they will steal your data, your money, even maybe your physical assets. It's crazy. We need to become more conscious about the value that data has. Hence, zero knowledge proof has a crucial role there. Why? Because instead of giving out data, we just give a proof that we comply with the conditions that the verifier is requesting. Hey, I am authorized to drive. Hey, I am older than 21 years old. Hey, I am whatsoever, but you don't care or you don't need to know anything else about my identity. And in that matter, I mean, we worked almost a year to identify the solid partner in order to provide us with this technology. And the guys from Model Labs have been great, and we are using their zero knowledge technology, which is amazing.
I think the skeptics among us might say, but doesn't the government want all of that extra data? Isn't there some kind of incentive for the systems to remain the way they are? Talk to me about the conversations that you're having within government. Is everyone on board, or did it take some convincing?
Well, the answer is of course not. Not everyone is on board. I mean, people in government usually, I mean, they have this sort of a status quo way, which is normal. I mean, government is slow by definition, and it should be slow. We don't want a government that behaves like, I don't know, like a tech company innovating and making mistakes all the time. We have tech companies for that. Government should be kind of slow. But I think that we are today, both in the public sector and in the private sector, specifically in the blockchain sector, we have this huge movement towards self-sovereign identity, decentralized identity, towards building digital trust frameworks. I was just minutes ago in a side event. I don't remember its name. I think it's Infra Web3 or whatever. Chatting with a friend of mine, which is Evan McMullen from Disco XYZ, and we were sharing that we were both really impressed that in the last 3 years, I don't know, 3 years ago, in the DevCon and Ethereum DevCon and the crypto events, you had zero booths or companies speaking about identity. Take a look around here today. We have several different companies and projects dealing with identity. And I think that's wonderful because, I mean, having privacy and having anonymity is an aspect of our identity. But there are certain occasions in which we need to attest that we are we. And we want to do that without any mistakes. If I'm signing a contract with you, I need to be sure that you are you, and you need to be sure that I am who I say I am. And I think that we are all building together the primaries for digital identity, and that is something amazing that we need as a race, not as a city, not as a country, but as a race.
Let's talk about the solution now. So the decentralized digital identity protocol that you're rolling out, Quark ID, is built on a ZK Sync era rollup. Talk to us about implementing that technology and how you plan to roll it out to the folks in Buenos Aires.
Well, we started something like 2 years ago. We have in Buenos Aires, and please let me advertise this, we have this amazing city that's, if any one of you haven't gone yet, you should. Amazing wine, amazing beef, go to Buenos Aires.
I'm sold.
You are more than invited. But most important than that, we have this really strong crypto community. Many of the big projects today are from Argentina. Open Zeppelin, built in Argentina. Lambda, a great developing company, built from Argentina. IOB, Extremian, Coindesk. I mean, we have Coindesk are you guys, Coinbanks. We have several different initiatives in Argentina. So we made a public call, say, hey guys, we want to build this, you helped us. And we were pretty successful. I mean, the guys from Extremian who are sitting over here, they made a great deal of effort, and they perhaps became the leading, they took the leading role in this. But we have several different other Argentine companies involved, Argentine and worldwide companies involved in developing this sort of technological system or protocol that we need to use in Buenos Aires. And I'm happy to say that last Thursday, after 2 years of work, we managed to make it open source, and we published it in GitHub and in Docusaurus. And when we started thinking about this, a few months after the conception, we started to sort of scout in which were the potential distributed ledgers that we could use. And we made quite a shopping around. Say, hey, I don't want to give names out, but we met with, I had the opportunity of meeting with most of the CEOs of several. We decided that we're going to do it on a roll-up on Ethereum. Right? And eventually we were sort of willing for it to be EVM compatible, so as we had, a bigger resource, developer resource. And I met with several roll-ups, and at the end of the day, we took the decision with the team to move forward with CK Sync and Matter Labs, because they have a very sound technology, they have a huge user base, and we made a great partnership. We have been working together for more than a year, and we are dreaming of this together. We're building this together. This is just the beginning. We have, version 1.0 in the market, but we're really excited. We have gained a big momentum. Several different cities, provinces, and countries from the Latin American region and from the world are getting interested in what's happening over here. And I think that this is a beautiful trip, and it's just starting.
Have any other governments or regions reached out to you to find out how the development's gone to maybe implement it in their own cities?
Yeah, we are already working with 2 different provinces in Argentina, that being Salta and some other province. We are working with the government of Monterrey, which is a city in Mexico, and Nueva León in Mexico as well. We are doing a pilot project in Bogota. We are in conversations with Peru. Because, I mean, they're interested in, hey, what are you guys developing? We are a big city. We are in where our next step is in July, August, and I think I have my technical leader over there, July, August, and that's a commitment from you guys. He is responsible for making this happen, which is we are integrating the Quark ID technology, which this has its open source wallet. There's a standalone product. We are integrating Quark ID within the Web2 application that we have in Buenos Aires. Hence, we will onboard something like 3 to 5 million users in a 12-month period. And that is great. And we're looking forward to it because bootstrapping this type of systems is perhaps the most difficult thing that, I mean, everyone in the crypto industry is, and we are dealing with that. And I think that as a government, we have the chance of doing that. In our vision, the way to get people bootstrapped in Web3 technologies is without they knowing what they are doing. People don't need to get technical. People don't need to know which blockchain are you using. People don't need to know which chain do you need to use for this or that. That is extremely technical stuff. We guys love it, and we love to speak about, hey, the gas fees and blah, 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 blah. Regular folks don't. My 84-year-old mother, the only thing she cares is having an application that serves her needs. She gives, I mean, zero interest to the underlying technology that we use. Of course, we experts love to speak in our lingo stuff and weird words, but anybody outside of this conference, believe me, they don't understand 20% of what we're speaking. So what we're looking forward is we have now in our humble perspective, sound technology. We have open source it so that everyone, and I invite you guys to do so, everyone can go, hack it, test it, try it, and see how it works. And we will be putting that in our citizens platform, and citizens will have the benefit of controlling their information. Any citizen who wants to know how these things work will have all the documentation as they have it now available. And anyone who doesn't care about how things work, they can just use it. They have the benefits, and they don't know how that benefits occur. That's fine with us.
3 to 5 million people. I think a lot of folks who are building here at this conference would love to onboard 3 to 5 million people, but it's not so easy. How are you thinking about onboarding people to the Quark ID? How are you incentivizing them to get the wallet? And I don't think we've told the audience yet. This is going to allow folks in Buenos Aires to put marriage certificates and birth certificates on-chain, correct?
That is true today. I have my Quark ID application, I have my birth certificates for me and for my 3 daughters within my wallet, and that is legal documentation. That is a reality today. Of course, what I cannot do as Secretary of Innovation of the City of Buenos Aires is force people to have 2 applications. Today, what I need to do in order to have my credentials in Quark ID is I need to have the Buenos Aires application. Why? Because, and this is very important about the protocol, the protocol is on a deeper layer than the implementation that the Buenos Aires city government does. For example, today here in the booth, we were issuing credentials similar in concept to a POAP, in which, hey, you have been at the ETHDenver conference at the Quark ID booth, CK Sync booth, amazing. We didn't care who you are. You just scan the QR and we mint your credential because we don't care who you are. But in the case of the Buenos Aires city government, we do need to know who you are. And we need to know who you are unequivocally. Why? Because we're giving out sensible documentation. Hence, when you want to claim your credentials for birth certificates, we request you to go through a biometric identification process against your identity issued by the national government. Today, that is possible using 2 applications, the Buenos Aires City application and the Quark ID wallet. In July, you will be able of doing that with either two applications. I will keep my Quark ID wallet, or you will be able of doing that with just the Buenos Aires city government application, which will have the Quark ID technology embedded in it. The nice thing about it is that if you have any doubts about how we are dealing with documentation, you could go, if you're a technical people, you're a programmer, you know your way around code, you can go and check that code and see how we are dealing with documentation. That is the first advantage. And the second advantage is that we live today in this crazy digital world in which each organization, each company force you to have their wallet in order to give you their documentation. So if you need the documentation for your bank, you download your bank's application so you have your, I don't know, whatever documentation your bank issues. If you I was chatting this morning with a guy who showed me his My Colorado application where he has his driver license. You have your national government application. You have your, I don't know, gym application. Every organization that needs to provide you with documentation for a way of or for identifying you, they give you their digital wallet being an application. In the next 3 to 4 years, that will be a reality of the past. We will have a wallet, as we do in the physical world, we will have a digital wallet with all of our verified credentials, regardless of who mint them, embedded in that wallet. And we will be able of changing wallets, as we do in the physical world. I don't like my wallet, I change it for a new wallet. And that is the new reality. Why? Because we will all rely on the same trust framework. And that trust framework won't be owned by any government because it's an open source protocol. Everybody could use it without asking for permission because it's based on a permissionless blockchain. And as we follow an international standard, that being DIDs, digital identifiers, and verified credentials from the W3C, we will be able of cross-verifying documentation regardless of who mint them or where it was, in which country it was emitted. Of course, the thing that you will be able of verifying is that the organization that says that minted that credential is that organization. That doesn't force you to trust it. That is a personal organizational decision. I mean, I can check and I can verify that a driver's license was minted by the government of Rome. And the government of Buenos Aires or the government of Denver may decide if they trust or not in that organization and in that license. The digital trust framework ensures you that the other party is who they say they are.
Now, I have to ask you, you might not have an answer for this, and it's okay, we'll move on if you don't. You mentioned other Latin American cities and Central American cities that are looking into this. Why do you think in North America the government has been so slow to adopt solutions like this?
Well, I mean, the government today is working. Today we have several initiatives all around the world. The DIAC in Canada, the Pan-Canadian Trust Framework. We have ADAS. I don't know if that's pronounced that way. Sorry, I speak English as a second language. The European ID, the DID Alliance, the SyncPass initiative. UK.gov is also moving forward in that directions. You guys have the sovereign protocol, and Homeland Security is starting to work in an initiative which is called Bring Your Own DID. You are moving forward there. You guys are you guys have two of the big tech giants here, which are Apple and Google, who, of course, they have big stakes in the game. They own the devices. They pushed forward the mobile driver license. But I think that eventually we will, I mean, society will move in that direction. We need to move out from, I love big tech companies. I am an Apple fan and I use every Google product, but we can't rely our identity in any given company, in any given government. We need to have a decentralized, a free world, and that is a must.
Diego, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you about this news. We have 49 seconds, so just quickly before we wrap, tell everyone what we can expect next with Quark ID.
Well, our next stage, as I mentioned before, is I would love to have by December this year at least a couple of million users using Quark ID, the CK era technology on a daily basis. That would be an amazing dream. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.